Again, nutritionalist and nutritional therapist, Elsa Jones joins me now to help with all your nutritional questions, as she does. Elsa was pivotal in the weight loss program that we put together in January, which saw my weight reduced from 12 stone 4 to an amazing 11 stone 4 over the course of about 3.5-4 weeks. The last I weighed myself, I was 11 stone 5.
Yeah,
so
good.
But I think I had a very bad weekend.
Right.
I'm really very pessimistic about it this week. Yeah, old habits are like your default position. They really are. They're always there waiting for you in the long grass.
Well, the trick is just get over it.
Yeah.
Say, oh well, okay, I had a bad weekend, but you know what? I'm back on track now.
There's so many things though. You know, you trained me to, I sound like a performing dog here. You trained me to shop. You trained me to go to the right shops and buy those things to have in the house. Those little crackers that I could put cheese on when I was starving at night time, which I always am. Don't have them now.
You
so
see.
I'm back on the stealing the children's chocolate little sweets that we'd have, the time-out bars.
It just proves it, doesn't it? If you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
And Roy Keane diet book would sell incredibly well. Speaking of the Roy Keane diet book, did you know statistics in today's paper show that women have tried 61 diets by the age of 45?
Wow. That's kind of sad, isn't it?
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit depressing.
Which can only mean that 60 of those diets have failed.
Yeah, well, diets don't really work, do they?
They don't. No, you need to get a different headset. And there are still huge aspects of that headset that I got together, like the porridge in the morning and in the snacks during the day and stuff, and the lunch I have. But it's the evenings and the weekends. That's where the bad Tom comes back to play.
But you know what? You can get it back. The thing is, I think, everybody has bad weekends, but if you learn from them, for example, why do you think you went wrong this weekend?
Alcohol.
Okay. Well, awareness is one thing.
St. Patrick's weekend. I was looking forward to it. I arrived in Friday night. We had Mexican food. Audrey made margaritas. Yeah, it was brilliant. I was locked after the first mouthful. And then just eat.
That sounds like great fun.
It was great fun.
Yay.
But you know what you're getting yourself into. Bigger Tom.
We're going to have to get you back on track.
We will. We're back on track this week. Now, Elsa joins us to answer any nutritional questions or anything related to your diet that you may have. And Will is on the phone with questions for you this morning. Will, good morning.
Good morning, Tom. How are you?
I'm very well. You've not only won the 2 questions, Will. A lot going on in your life.
I do. So, just going on the conversation that you had 2 weeks ago in relation to the beer, and the guy said he had 21 units and you worked it out to be, 2,000 calories?
2,000 calories, yeah.
An extra 2,000 calories?
Yeah, a day's eating.
Yes.
Yeah. So, is that for every pint being 2 units of alcohol? Or does, I drink either cider or wheat beer and that sort of thing. Is there a difference in the calorie intake, or is it...
I will.
Hi.
Well, I mean, I'm not a beer expert, I will admit, but to my knowledge, and I have done a little bit of research on it, there's a small amount of calorie difference, not a huge amount. In fact, I actually think some of the German beers can actually have a slightly higher calorie count than some of, let's say, the American beers. Obviously, the light beers are, again, slightly lower in calories. Yeah. There's not a big, massive difference. So, I mean, if you're drinking lots of beer, yes, it is going to affect your weight and it's going to affect your health. There's about 50 calories maybe in the difference between beers.
Not much.
Not much. Cider would have a little bit more kind of fruit sugars in it. And that in itself can affect weight as well. But really, would it be worth changing from one beer to the other? Not so much. It would be really more about, looking at the amount of beers that you're having as opposed to which beers you're consuming.
Do you know Gaz's friend, Seven Bellies? Do you remember him?
No.
Will, do you remember Gaz's friend?
Of him, yeah.
Seven Bellies. When Gaza was on the riff going mad, he was drinking with this man who was the size of 2 parked cars, and he was called Seven Bellies. He wasn't a sherry drinker, Will.
No, he wasn't.
Just, I'll make that point.
Not that I'm drinking a major amount. It's just like that when the numbers came up there with 21 units and extra 2,000 calories, I was like, oh, okay. But like that, all he said was 21 units. He didn't say what he was drinking. That's why I was just wondering, is there a difference?
There are no slimming beers on the market.
Yeah, there's no diet beers to my knowledge.
The man who invents a slimming beer will just be a rich man. Tom's amazing slimming beer. Drink 3 of these and you lose weight. It'd
be awesome, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's not going to happen, Will. Are you trying to lose weight, Will?
Well, yeah, I'm watching my weight, but I'm also watching it slowly go up.
Right.
No, as I said, it's not that I'm drinking, well, as Elsa was saying the last time as well, drinking the beer with the food, sugars are getting absorbed first. So that was an interesting one as well that I've adjusted, sort of thing. Now, alright, if I do go out to the pub and I get a burger, well, it goes hand in hand.
It goes hand in hand.
It goes hand in hand, and I'm not actually suggesting that you drink alcohol in isolation without food. In fact, it is better to eat food with alcohol. I guess the point I was trying to make was, people sometimes don't include the calories that come from beer when they're trying to roughly estimate how many calories they eat in a day.
Yeah.
They forget
Exactly.
the amount of calories that there
That's a
are in
day's
alcohol,
calories.
and the fact that the calories from the alcohol are absorbed first.
Yeah.
That was really the point.
I'd
I
have to
was
say,
making.
Will, if I learned one thing during January, I've been trying to lose weight for about 4 years. January was the first time that I eliminated alcohol as part of it, and I lost the weight. For me, it just seemed to be those moments where your resolve might weaken. If you'd had a drink beforehand, it would have weakened, and you would have had something to eat. And without the alcohol, I was just able to keep it together. Without the alcohol, I could just stay strong and not do it.
Yeah.
It was only 3 weeks. It wasn't the end of the world. It was only 3 weeks.
Yeah, it does. It definitely has an impact. There's no question.
Grand stuff. So the second question
Yes.
is in relation to fish oil tablets and that sort of thing, where we're having a discussion in the family, and it came up, one of them had been reading a book, basically that taking the fish oils with tea or coffee mightn't have the full effect.
And do you take your fish oils with tea and coffee?
Yeah, so I get up in the morning and I have a cup of coffee and I take the fish oils then.
Okay.
The 3 gel tablets means I don't have to remember for the rest of the day. So,
It's an interesting one. I mean, you see, generally, food and supplements aren't absorbed as well when you take tea and coffee with them. Because the nutrients from food, but particularly things like the B vitamins, iron, probiotics, they're the things that are most affected by tea and coffee. Now, the likes of a fish oil would be that bit more stable. So if it was going to be affected, I would say it would be slightly minor. It would be a very, very minor
what
thing.
should you do then? Ideally.
Ideally,
Glass
I
of
would
water?
take your fish oil with your largest meal of the day.
Right.
Actually, I would suggest that you take your fish oil with your evening meal, if that's your biggest meal of the day. And I would just take it with water. If you want to have tea or coffee, leave an hour gap. But that applies to even if we're not talking about just fish oils, but even for just people listening, in general with food, tea and coffee should be an hour either side of meals, but never in and around meals.
okay.
All right, as Tom swigs his coffee down.
2 a day. But Will, I must say, if you have time, go to the website allnewtom.blogspot, because it's up there to read. It's 3 weeks of what I ate, and it worked. That's all I can say. And
Yeah, true.
suggestions and exercise. To be honest, I went off the gym and just got into walking, and it all worked.
Yeah,
All right.
it did.
Give it a go. It's still there to read. You're welcome, Will. Lovely talking to you this morning. Very quickly, one for you now. And I know a lot of our listeners would like a bit of advice for this. Is there anything I could take for the early onset of baldness?
Do we have any more detail, or is that it?
No, that's it, Mark.
Okay. Well, there are certain vitamins and minerals that are key when it comes to hair and hair growth. And the nutrients that you need to bear in mind are things like adequate protein consumption. The B vitamins are crucial, and then minerals like iron and zinc. So if you are deficient in any of these vitamins and minerals, yes, absolutely, it can contribute to hair loss. Now, saying that, a lot of it will come down to genetics too.
Absolutely. If you're Wayne
particularly-
Rooney, you're Wayne Rooney.
Particularly for men, there's going to be the hereditary factor, but also for women as well, hormone imbalances, certain medication, for example, the contraceptive pill. All of these things can affect your hair. Is it a man?
It's a man, Mark.
It is
yeah,
a man.
It is
Okay.
a man.
I would suggest that he cleans up his diet, make sure that he gets adequate protein, okay, with every meal and every snack. Good combination of vegetable protein, so things like beans, lentils, nuts and seeds, because what you're going to get there is plenty of, obviously, protein, but also the iron and the zinc. And also loads of green leafy vegetables, and to eat the outer skin of the vegetables.
Right.
Okay, because
a life of hell lies ahead of you, Mark. Your hair is still going to fall out.
Silica is what's contained in the outer skin of vegetables. So the likes of peppers with skin, courgettes with skin, cucumbers.
Rub it into his head.
No, eat them. Eat the skin because silica is a structural component of hair, but it's also found in the skin of vegetables. You can also get it in supplement form if he's not willing to eat the
I
vegetables.
think hair loss is a thing men just have to accept. You know that? I really do.
To a degree. No, I do agree, to a degree. But then again, I think you can delay it somewhat.
Somewhat, an hour, I'd say. Unless you're a Wayne Rooney and you have 50 grand to spend on the greatest hair implant ever in the
Very
history of
impressive.
hair
Yeah.
implants.
Do you know who else got a good hair implant? Louis Walsh.
Did he really? Didn't know
We
that.
got something done to his hair.
God,
yeah,
I'm
it was in the
Googling.
papers and
I'm
everything.
Googling. Elsa will
You have
be...
a lovely head of hair.
You're very kind. You're very kind. Eva said to me, have you grey in your hair? And I said, yeah. And then she started laughing and said, does that mean you're going to get a bumpy face like old people? Not great. A bumpy face. Something for me to look forward to. Thank you, child.
I think you look great.
Yeah, it's the transition year for you, I'll tell you. Yes. You're, well, sir. That could be a good one for you.
Welsa.
Welsa.
Interesting.
Yeah. Elsa will be back with us, but in the meantime, if you want to go to the website for Elsa.
Yeah, if you were looking for a one-to-one consultation, it's elsajonesnutrition.ie.
elsajonesnutrition.ie.